Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Yomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu mamangani.
Apyayantu mamangani.
Vak pranachakshuhu.
Vak pranachakshuhu.
Shrotramato balamindriyani cha sarvani.
Shrotramato balamindriyani cha sarvani.
Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam.
Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam.
Maham Brahma Nirakuryam.
Maham Brahma Nirakuryam.
Ma Brahma Nirakarot.
Ma Brahma Nirakarot.
Anirakaranamastu.
Anirakaranamastu.
Anirakaranam me astu.
Anirakaranam me astu.
Tadatmani nirate ya upanishadsu.
Tadatmani nirate
Nirateya
upanishadsu.
Dharmaste mayi santu.
Dharmaste mayi santu.
Te mayi santu.
Te mayi santu.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti.
We saw pramana last time. We saw that for anything laukika, any object in this world, your only pramana are the indriyas, jnanendriyas. So jnanendriyas are enhanced by various technologies and instruments. These indriyas are used to collect basic data. Then the mind comes into play. We draw inferences. We use examples. All of the methods of knowing are dependent upon inputs from the jnanendriyas. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. But when you look at people who say, my life I structure because after this life is gone, I want to go to Swargaloka. How do you know? You cannot see Swargaloka. You cannot hear Swargaloka. You cannot touch Swargaloka. And people who have been able to go there don't come back and tell you anything about it because they can't. There is no resurrection. You go to Swargaloka, come back and I will tell you all about Swargaloka. It's not like going to Seychelles Islands and come back. Oh, it's a beautiful place, lovely beaches. It's like this. I stayed in this hotel. The hotel was very good. You can't do that with Swargaloka. So how do you know Swargaloka? There is only one source of knowledge. Veda. Or of course, if you think of heaven, there is another source of knowledge. If you think of Jannat, there is another source of knowledge. And you have to have a certain Shraddha. I have Shraddha in the whole Veda, which tells me that if I live life in a certain way, if I do things in a certain way throughout my life, after death, I will go to so and so loka. Okay. I accept that. A lot of people do that. A lot of people live their life with the intention that at the end of that life, they want to go to so and so loka. The next question that comes up is, why do you want to go to that loka? There again, where is the information? This fellow who went to Seychelles Islands and came back and told you, put an idea into your head that that is desirable. I can go there and I will enjoy myself for some time. That kind of data is not available because nobody can come and tell you. So again, you bank on the source of information, which tells you that you go to this loka and you will have only sukha. Now, I am in this Martya loka. I have dukha also. In fact, it predominantly or sukha, sukha, dukha, 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 sukha, sukha, dukha, 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 dukha. That's how life goes. I am reading in the Veda that if I go to Swargaloka, it is opposite. There is no physical body like this. There is no hunger. All that the Veda tells me. I would like to go there. A fellow who told you about Seychelles might have had a good experience, but when you go there, you may not have the same experience. But here it is assured by Veda, in which you have Shraddha as a pramana. So I know that such a loka is there because Veda tells me. I know that such loka is a desirable loka to go to. Again, Veda tells me. But then, if you accept Veda as a pramana, Veda also tells you that you will go there and come back. Just like when you go to Seychelles Island for a few days, you come back. Even if it is very pleasant, you can't stay there forever. Swami G, isn't there something in the Veda which tells me that I can get to the state where I don't have anything at all, I don't have to come back. I don't have any dukkha and I don't have to come back. Where I am neither karta nor bhokta. I am a bhokta only, sorry, I'm not a karta, but I'm only bhokta. And a bhokta of only enjoyable things. And I stay there permanently. If such a place exists, I can tell you after some time you won't want to stay there. The only way this is possible is, in reality, the reality of the self, of I, is that I am Ananda Swarupa. Sorry, that doesn't feel like it. My experiences are, I have dukkha, 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 dukkha. Something or the other keeps going wrong. Things are never the way I want them to be. So if you want to go to any place, it is not like this. But if it were true that your real nature is Ananda, for a moment, if I suppose that is true, again, because Shastra tells me, same Veda tells me, you are Ananda Swarupa. I've accepted all this, I accept this also. Then Why don't I know it? The problem is that Shastra says you are Ananda Swarupa, you are Brahman, which is Ananda Swarupa. I don't know I am Brahman. The worst part of it is, I don't even know that I don't know. You know, there was one fellow, tattered clothes, dirty, sitting in front of the temple and begging from people who are coming from the temple. They give them some prasadam. And one fellow comes and looks at him and says, hey, listen, this must be our lost prince because I can recognize him. He goes and tells him, hey, listen, you're the prince. Why are you sitting here and begging? He says, no, I'm okay. I'm doing what I'm doing. He's a prince he doesn't know. Nor does he know that he doesn't know. He will never get out of that. If he doesn't know he's a prince, and we don't know, a person here doesn't know, I am Ananda Swarupa Brahman, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, but I know that I don't know, then what happens? If I know I don't know, I'm aware of my ignorance, I make an effort to get rid of that ignorance. He who knows not and knows not, he knows not, is a mudha. You don't even know. He who knows not and knows he knows not is bala, like a child. So I know I don't know. I look for finding out how. The answer lies only in the Upanishad. Upanishad, Vedanta, that which is at the end of the Veda. In the previous portion we saw, it tells me how to get to various loka, how to obtain something here itself. All that it tells me in the first portion, huge portion. But in the last part of every Veda, it reveals the nature of I. That ignorance that we have, along with all its brood, can be removed. Vedanta says, shows us how. How I can realize myself as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. What is the mistake I'm making currently? How do I address that mistake? Clearly, it is not something which is going to go away very quickly, that ignorance. But you know, if it is such a wonderful thing that I am fullness itself, I am Ananda itself, wouldn't it be wonderful to know? Like our prince who is begging. And somebody tells him, hey, you're the prince. You don't know you're the prince. And you don't know, therefore you're begging. I'm telling you, you're the prince. I was the minister. I'm an old man now. I was the minister. I could show you that you're the prince. You have all the wealth you want in this kingdom. Something lights up. I don't know I am the prince, but now I know that I don't know. How nice it would be if I can be the prince. He says, I will show you. Like our 10th man. You all know the 10th man story. Great grief because the person, the leader of the pack of 10 people who crossed the river, counted the other 9 and did not count himself. And he said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, where is the 10th man? You've lost him. It sounds very foolish, but believe you me, we all do the same. Till somebody wise comes and says, the 10th man is here right now. I don't know I am the 10th man. And I don't know that I know. I don't know that I don't know. Wise man comes and tells me, suddenly hope rises. All the grief, all the crying and everything because we lost one man. Immediately, hope arises. Oh, 10th man is here right now. But I know, therefore, the 10th man is there, but I don't know how. Then he turns around and says, Tattvamasi, that 10th man is you. How nice it would be if all 10 were here. Hey, all 10 are here. 10th man is also here. Right now. I will not tell you tomorrow. I will tell you here right now. This is what Upanishad does. It is the pramana for this knowledge of self. I know I am an undeniable self-revealing fact that I am. I cannot go around telling everybody I am not. We saw that example in Panchadashi. It is like a man going around telling everybody verbally, I don't have a tongue. Can't do that. But we do. I know I am, but I don't know what I am. I have to put something to the I. So I make a lot of assumptions. And the world around me helps me make all the wrong assumptions. I make an assumption about the nature of I because I am, and I have to have a description of I am. Then you add a few words. I am this body. I am fat. I am happy. I am unhappy. I am ignorant. You add any word you add, then you feel the limitation of that. The world is very happy to reinforce that. Starting from early childhood, the school teacher tells you, you don't know. Show your hand. Attack. Oh, I don't know. As you grow up, your friends tell you, hey, you're an idiot. The word reinforces. So I am convinced that I am limited because I am this body. Then comes the wise man. Before even the wise man comes, there is a doubt. How can I be this body? Something is not right. That's something I don't know. Because I can't think of anything else that I am. When that doubt comes, you can ask people. Most people cannot tell you. Some people say, I don't know. Some people will say, no, no, I know. You are only this body. You're just imagining things. But because people can't tell me, I have no choice but to accept. I have no source of knowledge of the nature of I. Then something clicks. Veda has to be the source of knowledge because this ideas, etc., cannot tell me the nature of I. They can tell me the nature of the body. They can tell me the nature of the mind. But they cannot because they're all objects. I'm not looking for the nature of the objects. That I know I can find out. If I have to find out about I have to understand the two I's, which are both the same. The subject I and the object I cannot be different. Because there is no object. It is the same. How do I know this? I need a source of knowledge. I need a pramana. That pramana has to be anadigatam. It has to have I as the subject matter, which is not available to any other pramana. This man's wife tells him, I have made wonderful bhaji. Can you smell it? He's got a cold. No, I'm not able to smell. Can I hear the smell? Can I use another pramana for smell? Can't. For satisfying his wife, he might say, wonderful, lovely smell, but he's got a blocked nose, he can't smell it. He can't use his ear, he can't use his eyes. That field of operation of smell belongs only to the nose. It is the pramana. It is anadigatam. If that something has to be pramana for the knowledge of I, then it cannot be known by any other means. It cannot be contradicted by any other means. It cannot be validated by any other means. If Veda is the pramana for Svargaloka, there is no other means available than the Veda. This Upanishad, which I have to use as a pramana for the knowledge of I, because the subject matter of the Upanishad is I and is anadigatam. It cannot be confirmed or contradicted by any other means. Because there is no other pramana, whether the Pancha Indriyas or Shabda, which can reveal the nature of I. I have the samanya jnanam that I am. I exist. But because I don't know the specific nature of I, the Vishesha jnanam, I make false assumptions. I assume. Vedanta, which is the portion of the end portion of the Veda, Vedanam Antaha, consisting of the Upanishads, is the only one that can tell me the nature of I because it's the only subject matter. Other criteria for accepting something as a pramana, it has to be phalavat. If I know something which is of no use to me, this 83-year-old man reads a newspaper and there are marriage columns there. He has no use for them. But he can gain that knowledge. It is not phalavat. If we take Svargaloka as the example, I want to know and I want to be able to go there because there is phala. There is certain level of sukha that I know I can get there because Shastra says so. Because this pramana says you are fullness, you are limitless. Even if I don't understand how, the very thought gives me a great deal of encouragement to know. Like that prince who is begging in the temple. When this fellow comes and says, you are the prince, it's phalavat. He wants to know how. How can it be proved? The Vedanta stands the test of being the pramana for the self. It's the only one that can stand the test. If it can stand the test, that means it is the pramana. Then what I have to do is to try and understand what is the tattva of the pramana. What does it say? The mere words don't tell me anything. We will see even this Upanishad. Words and their word meanings and vakyartha do not tell me anything. That intended meaning has to come out with the help of a teacher. If it does come out, and if I'm able to absorb it, wow, I am Purna. I need nothing more. Like that our friend Prince can say, oh, now I understand the Prince. I don't need to beg anymore. I don't need to wonder where my next meal is going to come from. I have access to the entire treasury of the kingdom. So there is phala and there is incentive for me to know. The very word Upanishad indicates all of this as well. Indicates that it can remove ignorance with all its attendant problems. What is the process I need to follow? Also, it tells us. In Sanskritam, as in many other languages, every word is derived from a root, a dhatu. That dhatu gets modified by certain prefixes and suffixes, which give it meaning. This word Upanishad comes from a root called Shadildra. And that Shadildra has two prefixes, Upa and Ni. Upa plus Ni plus Sadilru. Sadilru, because of the way the roots are made, the Lru goes off. It is only for giving it certain properties, not for use. What is left is Sat. Upa plus Ni plus Sat. That Shad then goes through its own modifications because of grammar rules, becomes Sad, becomes Shad again. And the meaning of this word, root word, Shadilru, has three meanings. Visarana, Gatyartha, Avasaneshu. Every dhatu's root word is given and the meaning is given. First root is Bhu, Bhu Sattayam. Sometimes it has more than one meaning. This Shadilru has three. Visarana, Gati, and Avasana. These words also you have to understand. It's like studying a dictionary. I don't know a word in English. So I open the dictionary and look at the word. It gives me three other words for that. Now I have to go and look up those three words also. I don't know them. And you go back to the word, you come back to the same word that you started. Here also it says Visarana, Gati, and Avasana. Visarana, Gatyavasaraneshu. In the meaning of Visarana. Visarana means wearing out, disintegrating. Gati, one of the most common usages. Lot of dhatus have this word meaning Gati. And Avasana. Gati is reaching, getting. Avasana, putting an end to, destroying. Unmoolanam, destroying from its very root. This is the dhatu meaning. Dhatu is an word indicating an action. Now, Upanishad is not an action, it is a noun. So if you have a walker, a walk is an action. But in English, we add ER to make it walker, the person who walks. Talker, sleeper, thinker, thinker, talker. By adding the ER. Sanskritam, also you have several suffixes that you can add to convert the action word into the person who does the action or the thing which does the action. One of them is called quip, the equivalent of ER. So if you add that quip, then it converts the action word into the door of the action. Like our walk, walker, talk, talker. But sometimes what it does is, it changes the meaning to the agent of the action and then it goes away. You don't see it in the word. We have examples also in English. Walk, walker, talk, talker, eat, eater, cook. Cooker is in, I don't know, there in the kitchen. No? Cook remains cook. The ER comes and goes away. Driver. Cook. But it's already done its job. The ER has come, done its job, and disappeared. Here also, in this context, the Shad gets equipped, converting into the one who does all these. Visarana, Gati, Avasadana, having done that, goes away. Zero suffix. Does its job and goes away. So we now have a word, the doer of these actions. What are the actions? Visarana, Gati, Avasadana. What does the Upanishad do? It disperses ignorance. Visaranam karoti. It removes all the things that you don't want, all of which are the result of ignorance. Removes anything that you don't want. Dukkha, pain, hurt, everything it removes. So there is one meaning tells us that the Upanishad is the doer of the action of removing, dispersing all negatives, things that you don't want. If we go back to what we said, life is full of dukkha, 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 sukha, sukha, dukkha, 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 dukkha. If you can remove all that, that is what Upanishad does. How does it do that? By reaching Brahman, by knowing I am that Brahman, which is Anantam, Anandam, Satyam, Jnanam. By revealing to me my real nature as limitlessness. Already the mind is in a state where your quest has not answered this question of who I am. I work on an assumption. You know what assume does, no? Make an ass of you and me. Assume. Get rid of that. Reveals the nature of I. But Swami Ji, here it says Gati. Gati means going. There's no going anywhere. You are that unlimited Brahman, limitless Brahman. I don't know. It is like saying, when somebody explains something to you, he says, you got it? Getting. You reach that knowledge. Uncover that knowledge. Don't even reach. It is there already. Covered by layer and layer and layer of ignorance. Reinforced, stapled together, tied down by all that happens to us in the Janma. All that is so firmly tied up, all that is there, is removed. Ajnana nivritti. But suppose, Swami, will the layers not come back? All the ignorance will not come back? No. Because it roots it out from the very root, uproots it. Avasadayati. Unmulayati. From the root it is pulled out. It's like a plant is there, a weed is there in your garden. So you try to remove it by cutting it, it grow again. But if you take it out from the very root, it won't come back. This jnanam, once gained through the understanding of what the Upanishad says, with the help of a guru, it will remove all layers of ignorance such that there is no possibility of the resurfacing. It is removed from the very root. So Visharana Gati Avasadana. How do you know this is not this knowledge we talk, knowledge of I we are talking about? Any knowledge. But we only looked at the root. It has got two upasargas, two prefixes. Upa and Ni. Upa means near. One way of interpreting it saying that one goes near a guru. That's not the way Shankaracharya interprets it. At least not in this context. Near is a relative term. Relative to Chennai, the central part of Coimbatore is nearer to me. Relative to the sun, the moon is nearer. Relative to the moon, China is nearer. Relative to China, Chennai is nearer. Because I'm sitting in Coimbatore. Relative to Chennai, Anikatti is nearer. Related to Anikatti, the next door neighbor is nearer. Relative to the next door neighbor, my own next room is nearer. Relative to the next room, my clothes are nearer. Keep going. Near and far are relative terms. What is it that you're looking for? What is nearest to you? We are talking about I. It is not just the nearest, it is you. It is not that we are examining a Brahman somewhere else. We are not looking at a Brahman who is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Oh, very beautiful. How nice if that were I. Yeah, it is. Upa. Not only Upa, it also has a Ni prefix. Upa, Ni, Shabda. Ni means Nishchaya. Nishchaya. Ni stands for Nishchaya. absolute certainty. All doubts have been eliminated. Now, if somebody comes with an argument saying what you're saying is not right, why don't you look at it like this? With that clarity, one can see where the flaw is in that argument. Nishchaya. So we have this knowledge, we gain this knowledge, which removes all the negativities arising out of ignorance completely from its base, from its root. And this knowledge is about what is closest to you, I. And it is certain. This is what Upanishad means. Therefore, the very word commits to us that if I accept Veda as a pramana and therefore Vedanta as a pramana and allow it to operate, whatever junk I have filled in my head, and we all have a lot of stuff filled in our head. Every thinking person collects a lot of junk. And these days with access to information, there is no limit to that. Like I said, because we don't know the answers, we assume. And then it is validated by something I read on the internet. It's validated by some self-professed guru. You will know yourself when you are thoughtless. What sense does it make? In the first place, can you ever be thoughtless? And if you're thoughtless, how will you know? A lot of people will tell us a lot of things. Some of them will look very logical. Some of them will look very sensible. We read some things ourselves and fill our heads with a lot of assumptions. But with this clarity that the Upanishad promises us, all those doubts can be resolved. These doubts come also because Upanishad says you're Brahman, limitlessness itself. That is not my experience. I mean, forget about what others tell me. My own experience. How do I resolve this? For that also Upanishad gives us upaya. We start with an assumption, Shraddha, that it is a means of knowledge. I am not rejecting anything that I already know. But because I have Shraddha, I examine what Upanishad says, compared with what I think I know, what my experience has been, and resolve it. For resolving it, Upanishad themselves say, please ask. Ask with an intention to know how to resolve it. Ask not with an intention to justify my conclusion. Here also, I have discovered, certainly as have many others, that every doubt I have, every question I have, has already been asked and answered. All I have to do is to allow the pramana to operate. If there are any hindrances, any problems, any obstacles, remove them. Work towards removing them. Once those are removed and I am in front of the pramana, pramana will reveal. I have to do nothing after that. Last few days, we've been having elephants here in our area, wild elephants. In fact, some of them have been captured on camera, on the CCTV camera. I know they are there. They are silent. They are eating everything. They don't even make any noise. But I know they are there because I can see the forest department jeeps going up and down, bright lights everywhere, making a lot of noise, firing crackers. I have to do nothing. I know it's there. My ears hear the sound. And I infer from there that there is elephant is back. The pramana operates. I may be studying at that time. I may be doing something else. But without applying my will, I know. Because the pramana operates. In the case of this knowledge, as well, the same thing. I just have to accept and allow the pramana to operate. How do I allow it to operate? Do shravanam. Do shravanam with the mind open, with the attitude of saying, I want to know. And whatever you hear, I contemplate upon it. I compare with all the knowledge that I already have. I compare with everything that other people tell me. They cannot be two different things, both being true. Only one can be true. So I resolve. If it doesn't get resolved, I do shravanam again. I do shravanam over and over and over again. Each time, I allow it to cogitate upon it. Eventually, all doubts will be removed. And the knowledge becomes my own. All the errors that I committed about I get resolved. Vedanta as a pramana will operate. There is no doubt that if I continue to do what I'm doing, which is continued shravanam, mananam, and nididhyasana, you will hear these three words over and over again. This is the process. Because you're talking about I, and the pramana we've seen is Vedanta. In every other thing, you know the object because there is a knower, a pramatru. A pramatru who knows the prameya, the object, through the pramanam. But when it comes to knowing the pramatru himself, does there have to be another pramatru behind this? You will get to infinite regression. Why that Pramatra is the Prameya. I cannot say I have to have a separate Pramatra to know the Pramatra. Therefore, it has to be self-revealing. I have to be self-revealing. I am that Purnatvam. Has to be self-revealing. Vedanta becomes a means for that. I am Purna. I am not subject to any change. You cannot have a change in infinity. There can be only one infinity. You can't have two infinities. Whatever you do to the infinity, it's only figurative. You cannot do to anything to the infinity because you are infinity. How are you going to do anything to infinity? There is no separate Pramatra. All Upanishad reveals the nature of the self. Is the only pramana that can reveal the nature of the self. By making the statement, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Aham Brahmosmi. I, the Atma, Brahman, Omkara, give it what name you want, it is I. This is what Upanishad reveals. And that Upanishad is in the form of words in a book. Earlier, through words, Shravanam, just the oral tradition of listening. Now it's available in books. That book is also called Upanishad. Just like a book on organic chemistry is called organic chemistry. The subject of organic chemistry. These are all called Upanishads, of which we've looked at some, and we will look at this particular Upanishad called Kenopanishad in further classes. But before we go there, we will look at how this knowledge can be, knowledge itself can be examined. We'll do that tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om